close enough. Are we good? Are you sure?
All right, this is going to be fun. Okay, so this is up. I think, do I have to switch over? I think so. I think so. I had it open before. Let's see. Go for it. You get me, and then we'll open my slide deck. This is awesome. A little behind the scenes work. Good. There we go. That's better. Perfect. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for having me back. I'm going to try to get right into my presentation as fast as humanly possible so I don't go over time because this stuff is really, 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 really fun. So I'm going to talk a lot about a tool that joins together data and shows data in new ways. This, to me, is transformational for our business. So I'm going to share it with all of you. I use Power BI. So if you use Power BI, great. If you have a Mac, I'm sorry it doesn't work on Macs, but you can use something called turbo.net to run instances of Power BI if you're a Mac person, which will make it a little bit easier for you to use the tool set. The reason why I like it is because it's free. Free is always good, which is different than like a Tableau or a Looker or a Click, which some of you might already have or be familiar with. All right. So the interesting thing is when I started looking at Power BI and these bigger data tools to help me see the world through a different lens, one of the things that people would say is like, oh, I use that. They're like, I build out my reporting in it. And I'm like, that's not the way that I use it. So if you're using Power BI and you're like, oh, I already use it. I use it for my dashboards and to show little trend lines. That is not what today is about. This is not about creating reports better. This is about finding insights that more than likely your competitors won't be finding for the next few years, at least in my opinion. All right. So one piece of housekeeping is my goal today is to show you what's possible, not to show you how to go step by step and click here and then add this and then click here. I don't mind doing that, but I would get through so little that today I just want you to sit, take it all the freak in. It's going to be freaking hot and heavy. Take it all in, understand what's possible, and then we'll help you get through that. And when I say we'll help you get through those one by one steps, we're literally starting to put together videos on YouTube. For those of you, I hope you did your homework. We're putting videos on YouTube that will show you how to take the step by step, and then you can pause it, speed it up on your own time, whereas it's a lot harder for you to be like, hey, Will, can you stop your presentation right now and then give me that one more time, please? So I wanted to make sure there were videos and things out there that you all will be able to follow. They're all on our SEER Interactive channel. There's about 3 or 4 that should help get you started, and I'm trying to produce many, many, many more with the team. So speaking of the team, this is Katie Pulaski. She's speaking, this was last week, in our office in San Diego. The reason why I'm showing a picture of Katie is because she's showing something really interesting she's doing in Tableau. But I'm showing Katie because I want you to see the fact that she was in college. She did her undergrad at St. Joe's and then basically came to SEER shortly thereafter. And she's the person that's responsible for me standing on stage right now and talking to you all about Power BI. I saw something that transformed our business that came from a college student. Transformed our business that came from a college student. So what this tells me is, because she heard me getting frustrated about something in Excel, and she's like, well, why don't you use Tableau? And I'm like, Tableau? I'm like, I've heard of it. You know, and she's like, no, like, let me show you how it could be used to help us with some of the things that you're actually struggling with right now. And it was so easy. And this is just another one of those things that are 2 things. One, if you're an executive, spending time with all the people in your company can sometimes be better than just spending time with the executives. One, big learning there, because I'm transforming our entire business based off of sitting down with somebody who just graduated college. And the other thing is that there's smarts everywhere within your organization. Like seriously, there are just smarts everywhere. And you just have to make the time to be available to these folks. And they're also going to come for our jobs. They are. Because you know what? I had an intern that I hired from St. Joe's work on some issues around big data, and she didn't know squat about SEO, but she was finding more opportunity than our SEOs that have been working for 5 years at SEER. She didn't even know what she was looking at, but she was in an analyst mentality, so she was able to find outliers. She was running like correlations, and I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, click, ran this correlation, saw these outliers. She didn't even know what those outliers mean. But she found outliers, and she found more results than some of our 5-year SEOs. So they're coming for our jobs if we don't start doing this, guys. And you can't deny that. It was undeniable. Like, she literally, as a senior in college, found certain things that we did not find with 5 and 6 year people. All right, so let's go. So I'm going to have a massive attack today on best practices. I think Google's gotten way too good at the individual level. You know how we get individual search results, and if I'm local, I see different results, and if I'm on my mobile, I see different results. But yet we continue to be like, best practices say you should do this, and it's like every word has its own, not every word, I would say mostly, different words in industries. I have to be careful what I say because Dr. Pete's in the house. Different words in different industries can just look very different than others around things like page speed, right? About number of keywords per page and things like that. But what do? We go, well, Google said, and then you just do it. Whereas I'm going to show you today ways to pull down your own data sets and do analyses inside of Power BI that'll help you to actually say, well, Google said, but that doesn't apply to me. So you don't waste dev resources. Here you go. For those of you, I hear that there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies and whatnot in this neck of the woods. When you're in a large company trying to get dev resources, even a small company trying to get dev resources, when you finally get them, if you deploy them on something that doesn't move the numbers, you're not getting them again. So therefore, when you go page speed, they're like, okay. Like, I did that once for one of our banking clients. I was like, authorship. Took them 18 months to do it, and then Google got rid of it. Guess what? We got fired. So when you hear that Google handles 2 trillion searches a year, that's great. 2 trillion searches per year. And then Google says, oh, yeah, and it's true that 15% of searches are still new. Like, these are the kind of things that we just out to our clients with no analysis behind the scenes to say, does that apply to you? And that's what I want to show you today is how best practices, just to me, the access for you to not have to rely on best practices anymore gets bigger and bigger. And I think this might be why ranking factors are becoming, there's this interesting thing around ranking factors and being like, are they as useful as they used to be? And it's like, well, now I can just pull data instead of asking 15 of my friends and run correlation analyses in R and whatnot inside of Power BI to do that. All right. So if someone were to ask you, okay, so we all say, 15% of the keywords, how many are new this year? How many of us have done that analysis for our own data sets? What percentage of words are new this year that weren't there last year? No one. No one. How am I going to do that? I have millions of words. Excel craps out at 1.02 million rows. If I've got millions and millions of keywords, done, can't do it. Yeah, you can. Just get a different tool. So I can run this now at scale for every client. I've blurred out a lot of their stuff. The beauty of building data and data warehousing, and when I say data warehousing, right now most of the stuff is just done in CSVs on my laptop, which is highly encrypted, so don't try to grab it. But I'm able to run this analysis for every client now. And what you start seeing is that 15% for some clients rings true. This client's at about 20, 21%. But other clients, I'm seeing that number as big as 40 or 50%, especially if devices are starting to change the way people interact and search. So how quickly are you catching the world changing? Remember, near me searches? Yeah, now we all know, near me is a thing, but imagine the people who started looking at that in 2011 when we first started getting GPS on our devices, 2012. They probably had a little bit of a head start over the people that got up to speed in 2014 and 15, and that's what I want to show you today. Things that I think have a chance to give you a 2 to 3 year head start over your competitors. And the beauty is when you use Power BI, you can just hit the refresh button. See, when you create data sources and folders and you're connecting to databases for information, right? When you do that, I can just click the refresh button and all my data updates for every single client. So imagine if next year, 2019, I can click one button, change one thing, and I can tell my clients whether or not that trend is becoming more for them or less for them compared to them versus 100 and something other clients. Would that be valuable? Because if there's new words showing up that you don't even know are showing up, how can you even market to the new words that are showing up? So if you didn't do this analysis this year and 15% of searches are new for you, and you didn't do it last year and 15% of searches were new to you then, and you didn't do it the year before, you're just compounding that fact. Look at all the different sources and the ways you can connect the data into Power BI. Oh, this is a beautiful slide. Excel. Yes, they can read Excel files. They can read CSVs, which is predominantly what I would recommend you start with. Because the other stuff can be really complex. But eventually you will run into those complexities. So right now we're doing most of the work that I'm doing out of Google Cloud, because you can just connect it to Google Cloud. But all these sources here, if you want to connect it directly to Facebook, you can. Connect it to Adobe, you can. Adobe, Salesforce, you can. Mixpanel, Snowplow, etc. So this is an example of why looking at big data matters. So we have a client that has a $1.2 million in spend and paid across 142,000 keywords that drove 643,000 clicks, whatever. But then what I do is I take those 142,000 keywords and I use Stat, shout out to Stat. Stat's the tool that I use to get all my organic that you see here. To me, I would say as much as I love SEMrush, when you start realizing how long the long tail is, you realize how much they're missing out on. And when you start realizing how much they're missing out on that converts for you, you're like, where am I going to get that data? You can get it from paid. Now, paid can also be, and then you take your paid keywords and then run them through Stat. Now, paid can also be a little bit of a misnomer, because if you have certain parts of your business that you don't want to pay to get clicks on, then you're not going to have that data, so therefore you might have to use SEMrush to back it in. But think about the power of how I do your competitive analysis. So imagine I'm your SEO, and I'm doing a competitive analysis for you. Imagine if I logged into your AdWords, took your top 142,000 keywords out of AdWords from last year, and I pulled the top 20 rankings for each one of those from Stat. I have 2.84 million ranking URLs to do your competitive analysis. I'll show you later how I did a competitive analysis on 9,500 different domains for one of my clients faster than I did when I was getting 5 domains for them by going into tools like Moz and just dropping in a URL and copying stuff and doing all that crap in Excel. You tell me, would you rather somebody look at almost 3 million different URLs to give you a competitive analysis, or would you rather me look at 5 domains and 10 URLs or 20 of their top pages? I'm going to show you the difference, what happens when you do. So this probably looks crazy to many of you, but this is my happy place. This is my happy place. This is me preparing for a presentation I'm going to do at MozCon, where I'm joining 12 to 13 different data sets inside of Power BI, so I can create a single narrative across everything from links to Google Search Console to paid to competitor links in one place. Bless you. But we're not going to do that today because I don't want people's brains to start leaking out of their ears. See, my goal is to help my clients answer questions. My goal is to also be provocative and bring questions to them. As a consultant, I believe there's 2 types of questions. There's the questions your clients don't ask you, and there's the questions your clients do ask you. And there's a different value in the first one. When you look at the questions your clients don't ask, that's where innovation happens. Because what we're finding is every client we sit with say things like this to us. These are the kind of things that I'm hearing every single time we sit with our clients and we show them. It doesn't matter if they've been doing this for 15 years or 5 years or 5 minutes. These are the kind of things that we're hearing. So let me start to show you what this actually looks like. Have any of us in this room ever done an analysis on what percentage of your keywords spend less than $500 or $50 or $100 last year? Anyone? Wow, that's 1, 2, 3. Let me show you why that's really important. Here's a client with 142,000 different search terms in 2017. 99.9% of all of those keywords spent less than $500 all year. That's insane. That is insane. But nobody's ever done that analysis for our clients. And now, once we build out our data warehouse, I'll be able to click, click, click. It'll update, and it'll show that for every client. The first 10 clients I've run that for, I have not found a client yet who's less than 85%. Now, that's just the keywords. When I look at the spend, you can see that I have less than 100, and then I've got 100 to 500. So if you were to combine those two, it's over 50% of all their spend happens on keywords that spent less than $500 for the individual word all year last year. Now, how do you manage an account where 50 or 60% of all your spend is happening on words that small? A little crazy? When you show this to clients, you start talking about producing content for the long tail, they go, oh my God, how are we going to do it? We'll talk about that later. What percentage of your keywords only got 1 click all year? This is actually really important to look at. Now, some of these words might be because you showed up for something and you negated some of them, but that's not the typical thing that I'm finding. Here's a client, same client. Keywords by click cluster is what I call it. You can make it up whatever you want. Look at the single click. Single click keywords. 76% of all of the keywords that they bid on last year, so let me go back, 142,000, 84,901, I think my math is right. 64% of all those keywords, 21% of the clicks, basically 21% of the conversions, and 22% of the cost happen on words that only got one click. 22% of your cost, think about it. Whatever you spend on paid, imagine if a quarter of all your paid spend came on keywords that only got one click all year. And you're talking to me about machine learning. Machine learning off of one data set? One data point? Good luck with that. See, what's interesting is by running some of these analyses, we've started to build out some tools to go, my God, that long tail is freaking long. But no one's ever shown me this. No one's ever shown my clients this. Let's keep going. So, okay, one click, fine, Will. What percentage of our, and like think about it, SEM rush? Think about it, if you're only getting one click all year, what are the odds that that's ending up in SEM rush? And that's also 20% of your converting keywords, or 20% of your conversions came from keywords that got one click. What percentage of our keywords got less than 10 clicks all year? 98%. And you're working on these big chunky head keywords? Good luck with that. 40% of your clicks, a little under 40% of your conversions, 41% of your cost. 10 clicks. What do you guys think about this so far? Is this like, that's provocative. I haven't thought of that before. Because to me, when I did this, so here we go. No, this one I did on my own. I'm going to show you some other stuff that somebody just did yesterday in the company. I was like, got to include that in my slide deck. Yeah, like you look at this and you just go, man, how am I getting good at mining this? Because this is the shit that most marketers ignore, because as humans, we can't optimize 108,000 and keep track of 108,000 words. So what do? We focus on the big words with a lot of search volume. But in actuality, if we can find a way to tackle this long tail, none of your competitors are going after it. You'll get your rankings faster, and then you can prove to your clients that it's actually converting because you're connecting their paid and their organic data together. All right, how long is our long tail? Now this is a client I'm just playing with, so the data wasn't as compelling, but what was interesting is, I brought together their paid data, and I looked at how many of their words, or how many of their phrases had how many words in them. You can see that the phrases that had 7 words had almost 1,000 conversions. The single word phrases had 382. So like when you know how your client wants you to go after a head keyword because it's so important, and you go, but the data says that's not what we're supposed to do, you moron. And it's like, why don't you pull their own data and show them with their own data that doesn't convert as well as the long tail? That's how you consult and show somebody that their belief system is not accurate. But the idea of just taking generic best practices always leads to, but you don't know my industry. I know my stuff different than you do. That's a generic best practice. I go, no, this is your own data. And they go, oh shit, okay. Well, thanks, asshole. All right. How long should my content be? Think about, so this is what's really cool about this shit. Think about how you would answer that question today. I come to you because I want to sell laptops. And I say, you go, you need content, and you need a content strategy. And I go, great. And I hire you. And then I go, hey, I got to rank for keywords. And you go, great. And I go, about how many words should my content be? How would you answer that freaking question today? Some best practice shit. Well, you're supposed to get about 500 words per page. No, you don't do that anymore. So this is going to be heavy. So watch. Pay attention. The tree map on the left is showing all the different competitor domains. Look how many little boxes they are. That's what happens when you pull the top 20 for 10,000 keywords at a time. Look how many competitors I'm looking at. And the size of the box, I believe, this is a little bit far away, so it's hard for me to see. Let me jump down so I can give you guys the right information. Yes, so the bigger the box, the more keywords to that domain. Yep, the more keywords for that domain. So that means that NerdWallet has more keywords that are ranking than Forbes, let's just say. And then I've got the different questions. So we had a client ask, like, when you guys are determining how long content should be, have you ever looked at, like, if can words are different than how words are different than where words in terms of length? Yeah, you Excel people. Good luck trying to do this. This took me freaking 15 minutes. This is why I want you to do this shit so you can do the same things I'm doing. And these are check boxes. And then I can look for branded versus non-brand, right? Easy. And then I got a slider for search volume. So if my client goes, yeah, you know what? I only want to look at that for words that have a search volume over X. I just slide it over and then the whole thing updates. Ranking between 1 and 20, then I can check it off by snippet. So I can say, oh, answer snippets that are really long typically have a longer word count than ones that are like this, okay? And then I'm counting up the number of words. I'm doing a median of word count. So now I can take every individual URL, look at what the word count of that page is according to Screaming Frog. So it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. And then I can count how many keywords are ranking on that page. All right, so obviously, imagine if you're my client right now. If you were this client, imagine the questions you could ask me. And imagine the speed that I could get you those answers. And then imagine how many of us are doing presentations in PowerPoint right now, where every time you present something to a client, they ask you a question, you write it down. And then you go, I'll get back to you in a week. And I go, how long do you have? Oh, you have 2 minutes? Great, let me just go in, click, 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 slide, 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 boom, done. Does that answer your question? Thank you. And then your clients start to become better consumers because they know the power of the kind of questions they can ask. I think, now watch the speed of me going through. Notice how the tree map is changing, and also the median word count is changing based on different word types. Now this wasn't a conclusive test, but it didn't take me a lot of time. Notice how I've slid in to say I only want the top 5? You see the speed at which I'm able to click on these different boxes? And imagine the conversation I'm having with my client as I'm sliding these things around and clicking on them. I can click on an individual box and say, NerdWallet, here are their three URLs that fit that criteria you just told me. Non-branded, word that is canned and has this rich snippet. Take the snippet off, now it's 85 words. You see what I'm doing there? Now, tell me this. If a client asked you the question around, how long should my content be? And you answered it based off of a best practice. Would you rather me pull this data for you in 48 hours and be able to have this conversation with you, or would you rather me read some shit from search engine land? This is your own data. So these are your competitors, specifically. All right, I'll keep rocking. There's nothing wrong with search engine land. It worked great for us up until about 6 months ago when I realized the power in Power BI and Tableau and these kind of big data tools. And the beauty is that instead of me, you know what I don't like doing? I don't like learning things that that are important for me to kind of know, but I don't really want to learn that thing. So great example is Excel formulas. You know how some people are like, oh, I'm really good at building Excel formulas. I'm like, well, that's cool, but if I didn't have to, like I'm looking for the insight, not the fucking formula. Like the formulas are cool, like look at how many brackets I have. Like, okay. It's like when people brag about, oh, look how long my slide deck is, or look how long my audit is, and you're like, that don't mean shit. Actually, if anything, the quicker you can get me insights, the better. The fact that we're like, finished a 150-page audit for my client, I'm like, all right. Think about it. I'm giving a 0-slide PowerPoint deck when I sit down with my clients. Because I'm focused on outcomes. Not like, look how big my PowerPoint is, high five, tweet. So what I do is instead of me learning how to do like if search statements in fucking Excel, which sucks, and I always break them, instead, I'm just like, if the search term contains this word, call it brand. Done! Easy. And you know what? I don't want to learn how, oh, I got to troubleshoot the brackets and I put the wrong bracket in and I didn't do an escape character. Screw all that. Just type in what you want, click OK. Power BI will build you a brand new column with just the information that matches the thing that you just did. Go ahead and learn how to do if search statements in Excel. I'm doing this. Watch how quickly it can happen. So I go to add column, and then I start typing in what I want. The machine learning parts of Power BI go, oh, we know what you want. You just want the domains. Sweet! Sweet! I never wanted to learn trim and all those dumbass fucking things in Excel to learn how to get my data to a point where I can analyze the shit. I want to analyze stuff. Oh, sorry. If you didn't notice, my title of my presentation had a swear word in it. I curse a lot. So now would be a good time to leave because it's only going to get worse as I get more passionate. And look how quickly I've now brought in a whole new thing into my data set. I drag it in, boom, now I've got all those hundreds of thousands of individual URLs I pulled out of stat. I now have them at the domain level. I will tell you, adding columns from examples is like nerd gold. It is amazing because you start typing things in and Power BI is like, we think we know what you're trying to do, so why learn a formula to do it? We're just going to guess. And it gets it right 60, 70% of the time. Oh God, guys, I just love it. I love it. I love it. Because I don't want to learn trim, right? I just don't. Like, I don't want to learn how to get my URLs formatted. I just want the insight as fast as possible. So let me show you an example of something no clients ever asked me, but when I show this to clients, and now that when I run this for them, they're like, thank you. All right, this one I've been showing for a while, but it's good. So my my y-axis is ranking. So the lower the bubble is, the better. Each bubble represents a keyword. My x-axis is the length of the title. So now I'm using ranking, which is coming from stat. Length of title is coming from Screaming Frog. I've joined those two data sets together. Size of the bubble is conversions. So if I'm looking at 1 million keywords for you, might you want me to optimize for you pages with a lot of conversions, big bubble, right? So there, that rank highly, low, this one's ranked number 2, that have really small title tags because you're not using all the real estate Google's giving you. Now think about that. You give me access to your paid data, and that's it. Just let me get it. Once I get it, I can get you that report in 15 freaking minutes. Once I get you that report, guess what? We're like, just go do that first. This is a client that we were working with that ranked number 2 for the word office chairs. And their title tag only said office chairs. And we went, but there's all these other words that you could put in there that could help you rank because you already have earned the ranking for it. They went, oh, thank you. Let's just go do that. I go, let's stop the meeting right now. You got somebody in this room that can edit a title tag? Go do it. And then tomorrow when we come back, we're going to show that thing probably moved and it's going to get you more money. And they go, thank you. And they go, well, what words should we put in? And I go, well, maybe the words that are converting highly. Well, which ones are those? And because all their paid data is sitting right in my data warehouse, I just go click, click, click. Here are all the words that include office chair where you rank poorly, but yet you get a lot of conversions on paid. Maybe you should add those as long as the page represents those keywords. Make sense? I know it's a lot, but if you don't learn it, you're going to get crushed. Because if your competitor's in the room and they pick up on this stuff, you're done. Because it's just too fast. It's just too fast. They just see so much more. Which snippets are impacting converting keywords? Shout out to Emily Goss. So she, I kid you not. Sorry, Scott and Aaron. This is why my slide deck came in so late. Because I'm pushing my whole team towards this shit. So a girl who works on our team, girl, woman, I call people girls and boys, I'm sorry. But a woman that we work with, her name is Emily, and she's only been with us for maybe like a year, right out of college. Look at what she did. Look at what she sent us. I never even thought of this until she showed it yesterday. So what we're basically doing here is we're breaking down snippets, and then because we pulled all this data from So in this instance, for answers paragraph, Ally Bank has 30 of those answers for this banking client for paragraph answer snippets. But because I've connected snippet data to my paid data, I can go, oh, but they don't convert, so who gives a shit? That's why you got to be careful being like, snippets! We got to do the snippets! It's like, well, is it affecting keywords that have converted for me? Oh, I don't know. The best practice said, bring in the conversions right with the snippet data. And my videos on YouTube will show you how to do the join to make this at least somewhat possible. Because I'm just talking about how to join your two data sets together in my videos on YouTube, not this yet. I just found this out yesterday from a person who didn't even know what SEO was a year ago. But then I looked at aacreditguide.com. They have 29 list answers as a snippet. And oh, yeah, they do convert. Let's do those first. Now, I don't know about you guys, but does that make, is that an approach that you would like someone to take? Oh, let's not waste your time and dev resources on something that's probably not going to move the numbers. Do you understand why these concepts of best practices and looking at things that you read are not going to be good enough in the future? Is this making sense? I hope so. How can a snippet review help me to make better landing pages? Not a question clients have ever asked. When you pull the data together, the reason why I'm showing you these things about the questions clients don't ask is when you join all this data, any question you have, You just hypothesize, like, well, let me see what snippets look like and this and this and that. Oh, shit, there's something there. And then the minute you find it, you just apply it, for us at least, across the entire set of every client. You go, who's my outliers? That's why getting all this data together is so important. Because you will try 100 different hypotheses out. You will test 100 different hypotheses in the time that somebody else can only test 2 or 3 because they're still using Excel and G Sheets. So for this client, I broke down business unit. Which business unit has the most snippet penetration? And what's interesting here is like it kind of follows a pattern, and there's some misleading stuff because they bid on more words in these areas, so it kind of makes sense. But do you see, here it comes, pay attention. Thank God Marty's not doing this presentation. News, all right? Look at news. News is an outlier. So one of their divisions of their business, so think about God, I'm so happy to be able to share this with you guys. Like news, I go, oh shit, for you guys in news, prepaid actually affects news the most. So when the news cycle starts to change around prepaid credit cards, that's most likely to be disrupted by snippets and news showing up. It's an outlier. It's different than all your other business units. Makes sense? Hope so. Then I looked at, I forget what this one is. Places. So when you run these, when you run it through stat, I think it's Places V3 is how they label it. And what I saw is that for different business units, you see different penetration of snippets. And to me, bank account and checking account are the same thing. But they're not, according to Google, with all their machine learning on people searching for those words for years and years and years. So now what I can say is, well, shit, for some reason, I guess checking, those words have many more local results than words around bank account. Now imagine if I pull that snippet data and then I go to my paid search team and say, hey, you know what, for this business unit, maybe our landing page should include a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a lot of that, because over the last quarter, over the last year, I've seen Google add more of this because their machines are telling them that that's what people want. So why don't our landing pages connect with what people actually want? Does that make sense as well? It's just a different way of looking at how to build out your landing page content, but you can do this at scale across hundreds, and you can do this at scale across millions of keywords. I'm about to run this, I'll do it on the plane. I'm about to run this on 17 million keywords across every one of our clients' keywords from last year, just to see who's an outlier and what trends do we find. So I'll be able to share more of that as I go. Very few clients have ever seen Google as a competitor. They don't ask me that. Now, some of our clients directly compete with Google because Google's, acquires a lot of companies and does certain things. But for the average client, what I'm finding is their largest competitor, usually in the top 3 or 4, is usually Google. How much is that growing year over year? That's why I love having the refresh button just sitting up there, because once I build all the connections into my data, I can hit the refresh button, and boom, now I can see what happened year over year. Is Google becoming more of a competitor or less? What business units are they becoming more of a competitor in? Click checking, click second chance, click this, click that. Oh, Google's becoming a bigger competitor in these areas, but they become a smaller competitor in these. So maybe if I double down on the ones where Google's retreating, I can get more value for my dollar than the ones where Google's giving themselves more real estate. Questions people don't ask SEOs, because it's like, why would I rank for my brand? I already ranked for it, blah. This is quick wins. Where am I not number 1 for a branded keyword? And remember, when you have the ability to just click refresh on your data set, you can do this every day or every week or every month. Instead of doing it like once a year as an audit, you just go, and then you wait, and it comes back, and it's like, oh, here's all these new competitors ranking number 1 for your brand. So imagine, of course, now that all my data is connected, I'm saying, show me my keywords that have converted for the brand that rank number 1. And my tree map over here are all the different domains. I have 181 different competing domains that are ranking number 1 for a keyword that includes my client's brand. And then I can calculate how many conversions and how much they're spending as well. So now I can look at all these different domains, and I can click on them, and then I usually have a little box down here that shows the words and how much that word converted for my client. So imagine if you kick off a project, and you go, well, the first thing we're going to do is we've identified all these companies that are ranking number 1 for your branded keywords. Maybe we should try to knock them out early because it's your brand. Maybe we just haven't even mentioned this word on this page. Because see, this happens. For my banking client, but now you can find this stuff individually and get lucky, but once we get lucky and find something, I kind of want to go, how can we do that at scale? How can we find that for every client? So that's why we end up doing what we're doing. But for this client, you can see that it was a word, CD rates or whatever it is, and the number one result was deposit accounts. Now I can trip into that and find that, or I can build something that scans for that to constantly happen for my clients. So the minute it happens, I go, man, well maybe your paid started spiking because you weren't the number one answer. Maybe this answer box has got old information in it, and it now ranks number one. So now your number two result isn't going to get as much clicks because they don't have your right rate information. To be able to do this for every client at scale, or even if you have one client, and to be able to do this across millions of words at a time is hugely valuable. For those of you, you might not like me saying this to the stat people, for those of you checking stat rankings every day, stop it. You're missing out on so much of the world because you're checking 1,000 keywords every day. Stop it. Instead, check 7,000 keywords once a week, or check 21,000 keywords once a month. And it's going to cost you roughly the same, I think. You can ask them about it outside. I have pushed their tool pretty hard at times, and I think I've put up to 200,000 unique keywords in and had it run. And in 24 hours later, I had the top 20s and all these things that I'm showing you. And they're just great people. Don't you like giving your money to good people? Like, I love giving money to stat guys. So one of our alumni, Daryl, he saw me present this the other day, and he was like, oh, well, since you're doing all this, Will, if you've got Google Search Console data, couldn't you also see if your click-through rate changes when that snippet showed up as a trend line? And I was like, ooh, good point. I didn't have time to get it in this presentation, but I wanted to share with you Daryl's critique of that slide, and I think he's right. Because if it's sitting right there in your warehouse, you just go over and just drag it in and draw the line, and you're like, nope, it didn't, or yes, it did. It's just so easy to do. All right, then there's the questions your clients do ask. I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. How do my landing pages perform differently for organic versus paid? We got this question, and we get it sometimes. And here's a client by which I can tell that their bounce rate is very different from organic to paid. But that's nothing, that's nothing. What's cool that I wanted to show you all is that Power BI has a word cloud feature. So instead of me trying to scroll through and look through all of them, I can at a quick glance be like, oh, the paid page is missing these kind of words that the organic page is, and maybe a lot of people are searching for those words and landing on the paid page, but then it doesn't have the right words to connect with those people. Maybe that's a reason why there's an issue. Again, one-off example, but imagine being able to do this for every block of every category of keywords that you have. This one I get all the time. Oh, if I got a keyword ranking top 3, and I'm also showing up in paid, how do I adjust my strategy? You know, should I just pull down my paid ad, right? How many of us get that all the time? Poor PPC people, they're like, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, it doesn't work that way, I'm sorry. But clients are like, well, yeah. And they're like, but here's this best practice. F the best practice. What you do is you suck down your data from stat or whatever you're getting your rankings from. Then you take your position. This might be GSC, but whatever, Google Search Console. And then you take your PPC report by position, and then each bubble represents a keyword. So now I can say to my client, well, shit, your click-through rate in PPC is 3x higher than your SEO click-through rate in the same position. So like if this one's top 3 and that one's top 3, you pull your PPC ad, you're going to feel it. I can do this for every word they have. And I go, oh, these words may be so. And it's their data. It's not some industry data. It's not, oh, in my experience for one anecdotal thing I saw. It's like, no, this is your data. And I'm telling you that if this bubble represents the same word and my axes are organic click-through rate up here and paid click-through rate down here, anything that sits way off to the right and is really low, you got to be careful about that. And then you can just filter by conversions to make sure they're words that actually convert for you. Make sense? I need some more heads nodding, or I'm going to slow this down a bit. Because I can slow it down. I can slow it down. So I don't care about getting through the slides. I care about showing you guys this like kind of new reality. So do you want me to slow down? No. Okay, all right. Then I'm going to keep just showing you shit then. So the next thing I'm going to do is overlay snippets on this. Because imagine, so this is great. Well, my PPC click-through rate is higher. Imagine if I did a correlation on snippets to be like, oh shit, and the ones that get the higher or the lower PPC click-through rate are the same ones where news shows up or people also ask show up. Click, click, well, and the data's already sitting there. I just didn't have time to click, click, and add it into my slide deck. Like if I stop this presentation right now and you all huddled around my laptop, I could literally give you that answer in probably 5 minutes. How should I prioritize which keywords I go after? Happens all the time. Stop sorting by search volume. I am starting to just hate on search volume because by its nature, it misleads us so often. Even for my SEO clients, if I could convince them, I would convince all of them to do this because I stop guessing when I have more data. Now, remember what I said about, I don't know if I took the slide out. If I did, it sucks. Because like so many of your words are long tail, like sorting by search volume is insane. Remember how I showed that the words that got less than 10 clicks all year were almost 50% of your conversions, and you're gonna go to SEMrush and sort by search volume? Think about how much you're missing out on. So this is a very well-known client in the software space. Many of you in this room probably use their software. And we love their company. They're a really good company. Not we love them, I mean we all love them. They're a good company. And they were bidding on words in paid. So my axes are rank, 100 through 0. Conversions, 0 through whatever, right? So as an analyst, I'm going, anything that's off to the right, the higher up it is, the worse that is for you. This is the report that everybody in this room should learn to create. Everything I've talked about so far is bullshit. This one is the first one you have to learn to create because you will become instantly smarter in the room. And instead of you talking about rankings and bullshit metrics, you'll be talking about money. So conversions, look at this, look at these two bubbles. Are they on this line? And this is the kind of client that they should rank in the top 3 or 4 for anything they want because they have a great brand, a lot of links and all that bullshit. Look at their top 2 most converting keywords are at like 5 and 9. No, this is actually 11, I remember that one. But then I just took their top 16 words. Imagine if you ran this in the first day of your project. This is how you create priority because you're like, these are the words that convert the most. Look for the big bubble off to the right. That's not on the bottom line. See how easy it is? Once you get into a position of I'm looking for trends and patterns, I could look at this same chart for 1,000 clients and come up with a strategy every time. Because why would you go after a keyword in paid that's converting that much for you, but you don't want to rank well for it in organic? On those 16 words alone, last year they spent almost $500,000. And remember what I talked about, the long tail? See all those bubbles back there behind the line? That's 100,000 different bubbles. I just took the top 16. They're top converting keywords. Only 4 of them were in the top 10. Sad, sad, sad. Guess what? Title tag got changed in minutes. No, I think it actually took them like a day. They had been fighting about this for 2 years. Their CMO is somebody who used to be higher up at Salesforce in marketing. And he said, no one's ever shown me this way. You just broke through 2 years of gridlock in politics. Because you know what this is? This is when the paid search team can run and gun and match for words, and the fucking content teams, like, and the brand teams, like, we don't want to mention those words on our site. And I empowered my client to be like, so wait a second, you're telling me, Will, that we're going to drop $1.5 million just for this category of keywords every year for the next 5 years to hit our goals. So that is $8 million in spend because these people don't want to call it that. Done. Own those mother effers. Because this client was also going for their Series E. And I'm going, why would you not want to rank for this word? It's driving the majority of your conversions in paid. Answer me that. No one can because you're using their data. They literally can't answer it. Now, you're not going to make friends this way, but I'm not in this business to make friends. I'm in this business to make my clients money. Clients ask this all the time. What trends are you seeing across the agency? You ask this to any of our people today, it depends on who you freaking get. How am I on time? Is that timer running? I hope so. It says 9:30. It's actually 9:30, so that's not my timer. Just make sure, make sure you flag me. So what trends are you seeing across the industry? I get that all the time, right? But it depends on who you ask. Some people are friends with these people. Some people send it out to the whole company. Some people are on vacation, so they don't answer, right? Which is fine. Like, I'm not like, somebody send an email out to the whole company, you're on vacation, answer that email. Like, no, like, take your freaking vacation, shut off if that's what you do. But unfortunately, our client, when they ask this question, now gets a subpar answer. So when you pull down your entire 5 minutes left, or I'm done? 3, all right. When you pull down 1.5 million search terms and you have all of them sitting there, I can play around with things like, how many of these words include please across 15 million keywords? because that's an indication of voice search. So then all these boxes represent my different clients' accounts. And I can go, these are the clients, because people don't say please at the end of their search queries until voice search came out. So who's got the highest exposure to voice search? That's better than me being like, this article on Search Engine Land said, doesn't apply to you, but I don't know. I can look at words like service and phone. It was interesting. I was watching some of the things on our MCC showing up for people's phone numbers or like login keywords that they didn't want to target because certain companies who give us access to their paid, but we don't do their paid, we find a lot of this kind of waste going on. All right, let me try to give you guys one more. All right, I'm going to leave you with this one since I only have a couple minutes. Alyssa Bambrick, she stumbled into a thing for one of our clients. And the client sells mobile phone repair stuff. And she stumbled into this idea, and by stumbled, I think she got drunk one day and was like, my client, and she dropped her phone, and she's like, my client works in this industry. Maybe people drop their phones a lot when they're drunk. What are the biggest holidays where people drink a lot? They probably drop their phones. That's luck that she thought of that. But it just so happens, and there's a blog post on our site about how she found all this, but that's individual luck. And I want to scale that across the organization. So when you drop your phone, I now can run a correlation in R. So for those of you who are a little more geeky, but this isn't geeky, I run R correlation plots by copying and pasting code into Power BI in their R engine. That's it. I'm not like making these things custom. I ain't that smart. I can't even do an Excel formula. So you go into R, and they can build out correlations between your different factors. So now, I can, like ranking factors guides, I can now give a client what's most highly correlated with rankings for them across tons of factors that I pull out of Screaming Frog. And I'll just let R tell me which ones are highly positively and negatively correlated. So once Alyssa came up with this, I was like, damn it, we need to pull every holiday and across our entire data set, see which clients have the biggest volatility in terms of either increased or decreased conversions on holidays. And then across every client, we can see which holidays affect them positively and negatively, agnostically. It's not about like, oh, I dropped my phone and I got lucky and remembered that I have a client that blah, 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 blah. Now we're looking to use correlation plots to do that. So that's all that I've got for you. Yeah, that's all I got for you. Yeah, sorry. There's a little bit left. So where to start? Our YouTube channel. I teach you how to start, just get started on this stuff, how to cut your teeth on it. There's 1,381 views on that, and if you haven't been one of those views, guess what? There's 1,300 or so people ahead of you right now who are going to change the way they do their job forever because of this stuff. While you're still looking at Excel, waiting for Excel to load, they've shown their clients 5 new insights that you weren't able to. Don't hide from this stuff. Embrace it. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of the conference.